the Speaker did not allow me to assume office. Bakit mag-confidential fund ang Presidente? Dati, kandara pa sila. Bigay kay BP Sara ng no questions asked, confidential funds. Ngayon, binawi nyo. Sabi ng Speaker, tanggalin, di tinanggal nila. Hero ba kayo? Hero? Ha? Dahil binawi nyo? Magpasa na kayo ng batas na nililimita nyo yung confidential fund, zero. Gusto nila lahat, may confi fund sila kasi parang yun ang kanilang kitty-kitty, di ba?
Clear.
No receipts are required. It's in the circular, you read it. Meron bang confidential fund o intel fund na disallow? Wala, di ba? So wala kaming confidential funds. Sabi nila, ikaw naman, Kom, ayaw mo ba yun? May ano ka? May share ka? Alam nyo, ito mga share na ito. Kaya kayo, yung corruption na culture. Ang laki ng utang ng Pilipinas, no? Ang gross domestic product, 60% ng gross domestic product, utang.
Dan-aganBalita News Update.
At sa amin, nakapag-harvest na kami, kakatanim lang eh. So, hindi, buti na lang yung timing, hindi yung bago aanin, nakapag-ani na tayo. So, kung yung season na susunod...
5,000 pesos.
Okay. It's, there's a, hindi...
5,000 pesos.
Hindi, mukha akong bangal. Isa pa naman bangal.
Right, welcome back mga kabitaan at andito na mo tayo ay mapapanood nyo na po itong nakakairita ang sakit sa tenga. Itong mga binitawang salita ni Rowena Guanzon dahil nga po sa isyong confidential and intelligence funds mga kabitaan dyan sa Kongreso. Dahil sila lang ho yung nakakaano nito, ha? Kumaga sa Bisaya pa, nakapahimulos. In Tagalog ho, nakikinabang ho sa Confidential and Intelligence Fund mga kabalitaan sa mga kaalyado lang ho nila. Dahil nga po, ay hindi rin pala sang-ayon itong si Rowena Guanzon na tanggalin or magiging zero ho yung Confidential and Intelligence Fund ho ng Office of the Vice President. So wala ho tayong magagawa dahil kagustuhan ho yan ng Kongreso at sabi pa po ni Rowena Guanzon, ito'y talagang pamumulitika. At saan na ba nanggaling at napunta o napadpad o nagamit itong confidential fund na ito? Dahil yung presidente ho natin, si Bongbong Marcos, ay question din ni Rowena na bato siya hingi ng 2-point-something billion na confidential fund. Para saan po ba? Dapat ibigay yan sa mga sa militar, sa kapulisan. Hindi na ho yung nasa nakaupo sa pwesto na magkakaroon ng confidential kasi diyan nga nagsisimula yung corruption. Siya ngayon dahilan na talagang hinarangan at hindi ho ito pumayag nung nasa Commission on Election pa itong si Rowena Guanzon dahil itong former na commissioner na si Bautista ay talagang gustong humingi ng 8 million pesos na confidential fund. At tinutulan ho ni Guanzon na ba't parang ganun? Hindi po pwede yan. Kaya ho nawala, hindi ho nabigyan ng confidential fund yung COMELEC di umano nung time na nandun siya sa COMELEC. At sinabihan pa daw siya na bakit tayo mo? May share ka naman dun eh. O di po ba? Halatang may corruption po diyan nagsimula, diyan kinukuha sa di umano Confidential and Intelligence Fund mga kabalitaan. So para maintindihan niyo po ang lahat ng mga usaping ito, ipapakita at ipaparinig ko sa inyo at ipapanood ko rin sa inyo itong si Rowena Guanzon mga kabalitaan. Kaya bago pa po ang lahat, huwag kalimutan mag-subscribe para lagi tayong updated sa mga kaganapan sa ating lipunan. Tuloy-tuloy lamang sa panunod dito po sa ating munting bahay, ang Dan-aganBalita Reaction Video News Update mga kabalitaan. At sa mga bagong salta, huwag kalimutan, OFW, Overseas Filipino Workers, taos puso po tayo nagpapasalamat sa inyong mga suporta. Ito na po si Rowena Guanzon.
Ayan, gusto kong patayin mga komunista. These are just a few of the many things hurled by the Dutertes against critics of the controversial confidential funds that have now been stripped off by the lower house from the Office of the Vice President, the DepEd, and some other agencies. Our guest tonight is one of the most vocal critics of these confidential funds. She's known online as Tita Bing, an overprotective tita and queen of Bardagulan. Let's welcome to the show former Commissioner on Audit Commissioner and P3 PWD Party List nominee Rowena Guanzon. Welcome.
Thank you,
And
Gretchen.
former COMELEC commissioner, we should add to that.
When do we call you
list.
Congresswoman?
Well,
What's up with that?
by God's grace, I hope not too long.
What are the updates on that, by the way?
Well, we're still in the Supreme Court, soon, because the PWDs have no representation in Congress. It's been 2 cycles of the budget already.
What do you mean no representation at the moment?
There is no other party list.
Historically
There's no
speaking?
other party list in Congress that represents the persons with disabilities.
That is specific to
Yes,
them.
and the P3PWD won by 391,000 votes. And under the Constitution, it has a reserved seats. Unfortunately, the Speaker did not allow me to assume office
Okay.
because he said that there is a pending Supreme Court case filed by, of course, Cardema.
Nauna na po si Congressman Tulfo.
Yes, but congratulations to Congressman Tulfo. But what's the difference? He's also a substitute.
In any case, you're here tonight to talk about confidential funds.
Right.
And Commissioner
It's so
Guanzon.
confidential that...
Oh my! You've been quite
What
vocal
is
on
there to talk
Twitter.
about?
Twitter or X, as we should now call it. And the last tweet you made on it. What's the verb of X? The last X you
The last
You X'd?
that you X'd about it.
Yeah.
You said it's confidential. Anong plano mo sa pera namin? Bakit confidential, sis?
Oh,
One of the last.
Meron
Oh,
pa, meron pa
meron
dagdag
pa yun.
yun. Sabi, confidently beautiful without confidential funds. And thank you. Di ba nauuso na yung mga memes ngayon?
Yeah.
Pati yung meron kang pitaka na nakasulat, parang no confidential funds.
yes.
Diba?
I think that's the trend now. Yung mga bags na no confidential funds inside.
Okay, so tell us, what do you think?
Well, confidential funds should concern everyone. Bakit? Kasi pera nyo yan eh. Taxpayer kayo eh. Kahit nga sedula lang, magbabayad kayo eh. Diba? Kahit nga mayor's permit lang, magbabayad din kayo eh. Bakit sila may confidential fund na almost or more than 60% ng debt country is in debt, more than 60% of the gross domestic product, 14 trillion debt. Tapos, magko-confidential fund kayo ng 2.1 billion sa Office of the President lang. Bakit mag-confidential fund ng Presidente? Nandiyan naman ang confidential fund ng Army, ng military, ng police, that he is the Commander-in-Chief. Bakit kailangan pa niya mag-confidential fund? Intel fund. Iba ang Intel fund sa confidential fund.
What's the difference?
The difference is the intelligence fund is for military,
And you're okay with that?
bodies.
And with the amounts, you're
It's
okay with the
necessary,
amounts?
but it's how they spend it that's objectionable. The confidential funds are called as such because they are appropriated for civilian agencies. So, for example, last year, the Department of Transportation had around 30 million. The Department of Social Welfare had 30 million. I mean, who are you going to entail in the DSWD? While the state universities and hospitals, they've cut the budget. But now, the President wants 1.2 billion in his confidential fund. The Vice President wants, 500 million? And another 500 million for DepEd. Which now, ito masaya. Kasi now, the House of Representatives, dati, kandara pa sila. Bigay kay BP Sara ng, no questions asked, confidential funds. Ngayon, binawi nyo. Siyempre magagalit si Digong sa inyo. Di ba? Uwak-bawi pala kayo eh.
Yung sinabi po ni Presidente.
Hero ba kayo? Hero? Ha? Dahil binawi nyo? Dahil nakinig kayo sa taong bayan? Hindi naman eh. Baka naman politika lang yan.
Nabanggit po ni former President Duterte na gagamitin sana ni VP Sara yung confidential funds para sa ROTC. Is that legal?
Ay, hindi naman po pwedeng sa ROTC nyo yan gamitin. Kasi yung mga confidential fund, may regulation ang Commission on Audit dyan. Hindi po ba? May circular yan. Ang problema po kasi, sa Intel Fund, walang resibo. Yung confidential fund, wala ring resibo. I was mayor also before, and naging COA commissioner pa ako. Alam niyo ba liquidation ng Intel Fund na yan? Ipapasok lang sa sealed envelope. Nakalagay sa circular, in sealed envelopes. Pwede ba recipe ng adobo mo, ilagay mo doon, adobong dilaw? ilagay mo dun sa sealed envelope. Hindi ba yan papasa sa COA? Kasi sealed envelope yan eh. That's what I've been saying, that the Congress, aside from doing the Filipino people a favor, so it speaks, magpasa na kayo ng batas na nililimitan nyo yung confidential fund zero sa civilian agencies. At ang Intel funds ay may batas na nag-regulate kung paano yan gagastusin.
Senator Sonny Angara was defending the confidential fund of the president, saying that he is the head of state. Merong mga bagay na siya lang nakakaalam at nakakakita.
Hindi ko alam kung ano alam niya. Pero
And ma'am, this has been...
Pero I am saying that he is the commander-in-chief and he has all of these intel funds of these military agencies at his disposal. At siguro naiinggit siya kay Digong kasi 4.5 billion si Digong no? Last year. Sabi ni BBM siguro, ba't ako 1.2 billion lang, umaangal kayo?
4.5 na rin.
But that's the issue, ma'am. Why now? Why is it just being looked at now, shed to light? Is it the sheer amounts, the sheer audacity?
Alam nyo kasi...
Or it's been there for every administration?
Grabe ang mga tao ngayon Kaya bumagsak yung rating nila. Grabe na yung inflation, grabe na ang rising prices. 60% or more of the GDP ang utang. Baka gusto niyo matulad na kayo sa mga mas mahirap pa na bansa sa atin na halos hindi na tayo makabili ng bigas natin. So, in that context na poor ang country naton, mag-intel fund, confidential fund pa kayo na hindi namin alam where you spend it. Napaka-confidential, hindi namin alam. What's up yun sa Constitution? There has to be accountability and transparency, Gretchen. O saan ang transparency dyan kung sealed envelopes yan? Gusto nila lahat, may confi fund sila kasi parang yun ang kanilang kitty-kitty, di ba?
Hold on, I want to take this chance to correct a misconception though. Confidential funds are audited kasi a lot of people assume that they're unauditable, but they are
funds are also audited.
Yes,
There is
they're
a COA
audited.
circular.
So they can be audited. It's just that, as you pointed out, the rules
No
on
receipts.
liquidation are unclear.
No receipts are required. It's in the
Correct.
circular. You read it.
So what happens to that sealed envelope? Who gets to read it? Who
The
gets
COA.
to check it?
The
Sila
COA
lang.
auditor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
So it's really
in case
them.
of national agencies, the office of the chair of COA has a specific officer there in the rank of director.
If there are further questions, what happens then?
Well, they can disallow it. You see, the COA is the guardian of the funds of the government.
So
they
the buck
can
stops
disallow
with the COA.
it. Yeah, they can disallow it. But tell me, and no offense to COA, it's a professional organization. I was very happy there, and I have a family there. I feel like I'm family up to now. Meron bang confidential fund o intel fund na disallow? Wala, di ba?
But how would that happen, ma'am? Because if that's already been voted on, deliberated on by the budget, and is part already of that, how do you take away the allocation for that? As what are you proposing?
What do you mean, take
Just
it away?
completely
Oh.
abolish or realign it? Put it in a new budget?
No. We have to stop confidential funds.
And where would we put the money, ma'am?
But put it in social services.
Okay.
Put it in state universities. Put it in hospitals. Give it to persons with disability. Give the persons with disability their monthly assistance fund. The senior citizens who are indigent. Give them that. There's
But
so
ma'am,
many
just
things you
from a
can
practical
do with so many
perspective.
billions of pesos, and you want it in confidential funds.
But from a practical perspective, how can we decide on where this money would go? Wouldn't that take
That's
deliberations
the
from the House?
job.
Diba?
That's the job of the Congress because
Yeah,
it
it's
holds
going
the
to take
purse.
a whole other
But it
deliberation
holds
of
the person. Now, why are they withdrawing
Where will we
it
put
from
it?
VP Sara? Why are they withdrawing it from all the civilian? All of a sudden, they have a hallelujah. They found the Holy Grail. They're now zero for civilian agencies, and they'll move it to the Coast Guard and military. All of a sudden, is there politics there involved? I like that. But I want it for the right reasons, Mr. Speaker. For the right reasons. That confidential funds should be stopped once and for all. Because we cannot
Across the
afford.
board, across
we
the board.
cannot afford a single million, a single peso in confidential funds that are most likely going to be in the pockets of public officials. Because, again, there is no transparency, and the regulations for liquidation is very vague. Very vague. So, pass a law.
Kaya po pala hindi pa na-approve yung ano ninyo. Pagiging congresswoman ninyo.
Alam nyo,
Maybe that's why.
alam nyo, alam nyo, kahit naman di ako nakaupo doon nakaupo naman ako dito. Di ba?
In your time as commissioner there at COA, have you ever opened one of these sealed envelopes?
Oh no, that's not my job. That's the job of the
Because I'm just
director in the
curious,
chair.
what is written there? If receipts are not required, what do they submit then? You know
Well,
what I
then
mean?
they're supposed to have a
FYI.
program, right? So, in the National Expenditure Program, which you call later the budget, they have specific line items, right? And they'll say intelligence fund. They're supposed to have a program. You know, what are you going to use it for? And they submit that to the head of office or the disbursing officer. And then the COA will audit it according to that program. Say, for example, they cannot buy equipment, they can't buy trucks, unless it's for a specific intelligence activity, which they will specify where, how. But as I said, sealed envelope yan.
But to date, ma'am, the COA has not said anything about these confidential funds in all of their audits. So far,
Well,
wala pa naman
as a
silang...
courtesy, I don't think any COA commissioner will sit here and tell you about it. But you ask them if they have disallowed any, and I don't think they have disallowed any.
Why do you think that's the case?
Because as I said, it's confidential. It's so confidential that it cannot be disallowed.
But two people would know, the director and the, as you mentioned, could open the envelope.
Yes.
Okay.
As I said, these regulations are vague. So why bother? Let's go to the
Why
root of the
bother?
problem. Why even appropriate confidential funds to civilian agencies when they are not needed?
And it's also
They're not
not
a
just
necessity.
these departments that
Oh.
we're mentioning. Nasa LGU din eh.
That's the point eh. Even mayors have confidential funds. And this is it. There's no limit,
Exactly.
There's no limit, Gretchen. In other words, look at some LGUs that Yusek Magno, you know, she said this. The confidential funds of some LGUs have a bigger share of the pie than social programs. Like, let's say, hospitalization. Diba? Who gets to say how much they can appropriate? Only the Sangguniang Panlunsod, and that's very political.
You don't buy the argument that they need it for peace and order?
Oh, bull. Oh, bull.
Is
I
there
was mayor, you know, and mayors don't need intel funds for peace and order. They should have to put it in the MOOE. Maintenance and operating expense. Put it in your police services. You hire more traffic people. You buy more ambulances. You buy more whatever. You know, more police women on the streets. Intel fund to ensure peace and order. That's a fallacy.
Ma'am, is there
It
hard
does
evidence?
not follow.
Is there hard evidence that this has been used for corruption? Hard evidence.
What do you mean hard evidence? Has anybody been sued in the ombudsman for the misuse of confidential funds? I don't think so. But you know, you gave me an idea. I'm going to search for it tomorrow and
Yung
let you know. But I don't
extraordinary,
think so.
yung extraordinary funds.
Extraordinary
Ano naman
expenses.
That's kind of the same, right? It's confidential funds for
No,
LGUs and
but
extraordinary
the House
funds.
said they didn't. The House, diba, has been accused of having confi funds as well, and they said no, you don't have confi funds. They're
They have
called
extraordinary
extraordinary
funds.
expenses.
Well,
please help us understand what extraordinary expenses are.
well, I think that's the funds that they use for entertaining, you know, foreign guests, things like that. That's you look at the extraordinary funds. It's probably going to have a lot of receipts for restaurants.
Oh.
No, okay, not
So,
security.
extraordinary funds, but not security, because security will have its own fund. And in the budget, it should have a line item. Diba? That was the controversy. But there was no line item, zero. And then, you know, the House said the VP can have confidential funds because it's in the heading. No, but then somebody said, no, it has to be in the item. No, but then now they turn around and say, no one na. They binawi nila kay VP Sara ang confidential fund. Eh, syempre magagalit, di ba? Syempre magagalit si Digong sa inyo, o ano. Merese, kung sa Ilonggo pa.
I was reading Yusek Magno's Twitter account the other day, and she was unearthing a lot of documents. She was saying the earliest mention of a confidential fund was during Magsaysay's time. It was a private fund raised as a reward against hook leaders. And it seems like Marcos Sr. started the confidential fund as we know it. And there's a document that she posted that confidential funds were used to finance Imelda Marcos's travels. And she said CFs breed corruption. What do you know about that?
Well, she's USEC of Finance formerly, so she has evidence. I mean, they probably had vouchers or notes, you know, and I believe her. I believe her.
This document dated
Yeah, Shelo Magno
1981.
from the UP School of Economics is an expert, very credible.
And speaking of which, you have a public movement against corruption with her. Tell us more about that.
Yes, thank
What
you,
are
Dan.
you expecting here?
Well, it's being started now, and thank you for letting us launch it here in TV5. And of course, Yellow Magno told me, go ahead, talk about it. Tonight, we are announcing that there is a growing movement called Wag Kang Ko-Corrupt, which is going to be a nationwide movement to protest confidential funds and put an end to it and put an end to corruption. So it's really an anti-corruption movement, but specifically now we are protesting against the confidential funds.
I mean, time and time again, we do hear about the fight against corruption, but what do you propose civilians do to actually expose it and to find where it is?
Well, now, the difference between now and, let's say, 5 years ago is social media. All right? So people can gather in social media without physically standing there. And we're counting on it. And as Maria Ressa said in her book, 96% of the users of Facebook, 92 are Filipinos. So where are the 8%? I mean, 92% of Facebook users, kayo, Pilipino kayo. At may karapatan kayo sa lahat ng ginagawa ng gobyerno nyo, lalo na sa pera, kung paano nila ginagastos. May karapatan po kayong tumutol dyan pag alam na natin na ina-abuse na nila at open sa abuse ito. Madali lang naman eh. Gusto ng Congress, i-stop yung confidential funds, edi pumasa kayo ng batas. Wala nang... You know, when we were in COMELEC, I'm very proud to say, lahat kami commissioners, sabi namin, wala kaming confidential fund. Zero. Gusto lang ni Chairman Andy Bautista, confidential fund, 8 million. No,
But
we
you
passed...
shot it down.
We passed a resolution.
Yeah.
And I spoke with Senator Legarda in the Senate Finance Committee, and I spoke with Congressman Nograles in the Congress Finance Committee, and I told him, I spoke to him on the phone, and I said, we are willing to appear, to tell you that we don't need it. I don't think we should spend the people's money on activities other than quasi-judicial functions and counting your votes and making the rules. Di ba? So wala kaming confidential funds. Sabi nila, ikaw naman, Kom, ayaw mo ba yun? May ano ka? May share ka? Alam nyo, ito mga share na ito. Kaya kayo, yung corruption na culture, tinotolerate nyo.
Commissioner, just very quickly, your anti-corruption movement, how big are you now? I mean, I know you're just about to launch it.
I think I'm the one they put up here so that I can be targeted. But
There
these
you
are
go.
very credible people. Very credible people have put up this movement. And I think tonight or tomorrow we will, of course, launch the Facebook. And it
People can post on that page.
Yeah. Oo, sali kayo. Lahat, sali kayo. Vendors, tricycle drivers, tambay,
You know,
sali kayo.
But what I
Oo.
love about what Yusek Magno is doing, that she's unearthing actual numbers and data to back her accusations.
Lalabas dyan lahat sa Facebook post.
Tsaka meron siyang
page na yan.
tutorial teaching people
Wow.
how to find these confidential funds data.
Yes.
If you're going to write about it, if you're going to want to see it
She's
close.
basically giving us all a crash course on economics,
And
on
we need
finance,
that.
on statistics.
And how to
Yeah.
look for the information that we need.
Yeah.
Which we are entitled to as citizens of this
Yeah,
nation.
that's what the Facebook page will give the public.
Tuturuan nyo kami kung
oo.
paano hanapin.
Gusto ko nga kung paano Tagalogin yan, di ba?
Tama yan.
Mga tao, maintindihan nila. Pero sa ngayon, may utang. Ang laki ng utang ng Pilipinas, no? Ang gross domestic product, 60% ng gross domestic product, utang. Tapos magko-confidential fund sila. Tumutol po kayo kasi nagbabayad naman po kayo talaga ng buwis.
Ma'am, what about the Maharlika Fund? Okay ka na ba dun?
Babalikan pa ba natin yan?
Just, support, not support, especially with the
Ay,
revisions
matagal na
that
ako
have been...
nag-object dyan.
Despite
Sa
the
Maharlika
revisions
Fund na
po.
yan. Kaya, di ba sabi namin, we threatened, mag-hunger strike kami sa labas ng batasan kung sasama pa yung SSS namin at GSIS. Tinanggal naman ni Kong Stella Kimbo. Salamat.
Eh, ano pong masasabi po niya dun sa stance dito sa confidential funds? She was initially defending it.
Yung kay BP Sara.
Oo.
Sabi niya nasa heading daw eh.
What do you mean?
Nasa heading daw. Ganun. Pero wala sa line item. No, so, pero in the end, it's now water under the bridge. Kasi sabi ng speaker, tanggalin di tinanggal nila. Hindi po ba? So, in the end, okay naman. Pero ang tanong, tanggalin mo dyan, ilalagay mo sa military agencies. Ganun pa rin. May confidential fund pa rin next year. Depende kung sino nakaupo dyan.
Well, we heard it straight from you. If you want to join the movement, the Facebook page is launching tonight and tomorrow, I believe. Wag kang kukurap. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Former Comelec Commissioner Rowena Guanzon.
Salamat po.
Salamat.
Ayun po mga kabalitaan. So narinig nyo na ho, talagang ibinulgar ho ni Rowena Guanzon, yung former commissioner ng Commission on Audit at Commission on Election mga kabalitaan. At siya ngayon yung representante ng parang first nominee yata itong si Rowena Guanzon ng P3PWD party list mga kabalitaan. So sabi niya, grabe daw yung corruption dyan sa Kongreso at yun nga, yung bawi ng confidential fund ng Office of the Vice President ay talagang nanggaling ho sa utos ni Speaker Martin Romualdez sa mga kabalitaan. Paglalabas ng impormasyon na ito ni Rowena Guanzon ay talagang nakakatakot at nakakakabaho para ho sa panig ng mga kongresista dyan sa Kongreso, mga kabalitaan. So ayun po, kung nagustuhan nyo itong ating video presentation, huwag nyo pong kalimutan mag-subscribe at i-click yung notification bell, then mag-comment, like, and share na po mga kabalitaan para malaman po ito ng mga karamihan na hindi pa po nakakapanood. Dahil itong episode na ito ng One News ay atin naman pong binigyan ng reaction. Ni-recap lang ho natin to kasi for sure marami pa pong hindi nakakakita at nakakapanood nitong palabas na ito mga kabalitaan. Kaya magkita-kits po tayo sa susunod pang mga video yung i-upload natin. Standby lang ho kayo. At para mapanood nyo, sinasabi ko po, click nyo lang po yung notification bell. Ako po yung magpapaalam na. Kita-kits mamaya. To God be the glory. Pumwa! Chip, chip. Peace out!